Hello, I'm Mike, and this is Will. We are the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
We're bringing you issue 36 of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Mortal Realms magazine today, and in this issue we got an Azurite bell tower to complete the terrain for the Realm of Life board. As usual, before we look at the issue, you can find a time code in the description or on the chapters along the time bar to skip straight to the battle for this issue. Heading into the issue now. First up, we have some background on the Dominion of Sigmar. It's going over all the Azurite Ruins we've seen so far. Some history of the Storm Vaults, how they hold hidden arcane treasures, and some of them have been broken into. Some of them date back to the Age of Myth. Many of these structures were torn down by Chaos followers. Talks a little bit about the architecture and the cities of Sigmar, and how some of the ruins don't date back to the Age of Myth, such as the ruins of Lethis, which we learned about in a previous issue, the Nighthaunt siege of the city. We have some background on the Prime Innerlands. This is the area in the middle of Shyish that isn't so heavily tainted by death magic, where mortal beings can actually live, and how Sigmar came to the area and taught the mortals there how to create civilization. It also talks about the strongholds of the Mortarchs of the Dead, Neferata, Manfred and Arcan the Black. And then some backstory on the Beasts of Chaos, so these sort of twisted human-animal hybrids created by Chaos. How they create their totems and these strange herd stones they use that spread corruption and mark their territory, and how during the Age of Chaos they sort of ran rampant across the mortal realms and were only pushed back by the Stormcast Eternals. Next up we have the build guide for the Azurite Bell Tower. It mentions how you should keep parts separate, so you build the main tower itself and then the lower platform, the upper platform and a ladder. I would actually keep this ladder for the lower platform separate as well, it makes it all a bit easier to store. It's fairly simple to put together. The main issue is, as it says, is gluing the skeletons on, the hanging skeletons. They're quite fragile because the connection points are very thin. And painting it is fairly similar to painting the other Azurite ruins. As usual, you start with a white base coat and wash it and then dry brush it. Grey stone. Same techniques for the wood. The only new thing is going to be painting the brass on the bell, done with Balthazar gold. Oh, and there's also the skeletons as well. That's similar to painting bone on the other models we've painted so far. Again, just be careful with the hanging skeleton. It's quite easy to bend that connection point. Also, I kept the skeletons separate as well, just to make them easier to paint. But with that over, we can get into some new rules we're learning this issue and get into the game.
So on to our game for this issue, but first we've got another tutorial. This is about piling in the combat phase. It's still stuff we've been doing anyway, but it is actually quite a useful little tutorial with some examples that show how you can and can't pile in. Worthwhile knowing, because piling in is quite an important tactical part of the game, and a couple of other things that might come up, like taking turns fighting. It means that units pile in one at a time. Also that you can indeed pile in around an enemy's base if you're in base contact with it. As long as you stay in base contact, you can move around. And you can end up piling it away from enemies so they don't end up being engaged in melee anymore.
Unless the unit is charged, in which case it can still be chosen to pile in and fight even if it's more than 3 inches away.
Yes. And we now have an updated warscroll for the Spirit Torment. His profile and weapons and everything haven't changed. We already knew about Nagash's bidding. You can reroll hit rolls of 1 for friendly Nighthaunt units wholly within 12 inches of him. But a new thing that he's got now is Captured Soul Energy. It's a little bit intricate. At the start of the Battle Shock phase, if 3 or more enemy models were slain during the turn, you can pick a friendly Nighthaunt unit within 6 inches of him and heal D3 wounds that unit has suffered. Or if the models that were killed were Stormcast Eternal models, then you can heal 3 wounds instead of D3. Alternatively, instead of healing something, you can return slain models to a unit nearby. Roll a D3 to determine the number of wounds worth of models you can return. And it also clarifies that if you have more than 1 Spirit Torment, you have to kill 3 models of each Spirit Torment. You can't share them around. And on the back, just a tutorial about that, so his aura ability and how Captured Soul Energy works. Then on to our game, we've got a bit of fiction here with a massive heading Exorcism. The Stormcast have found an ancient chapel to Sigmar in the ruins of Summersong, but it's infested with Nighthaunt, so they're preparing to purge them. And the bell tower that we got with this issue represents that, so it explains where that goes, which is basically in the middle along one of the long edges. And it doesn't have any specific rules other than being terrain, so it can provide cover. And then on to the Battleplan, Exorcising the Gheists. So for the Nighthaunt we have the Spirit Torment, the Tomb Banshee, 10 Chain Rust and 8 Glaive Wraith Stalkers for some reason. We have 9 models, but for some reason we're only using 8 of them in this game. And the Stormcast Eternals, we've got the Lord Exorcist, 5 Secretors and 3 Evocators. Once again using the 2 Stormsire's Cursebreaker models as the normal Evocators and the Prime model. The mat is as normal, we've got our territory, obviously we will have the bell tower on the board now. There are no objectives or anything. The Nighthaunt places the first unit, the Stormcast gets the first turn, and the battle continues until one player has no models left on the battlefield. So we're back to wipe each other out as an objective. So we'll get into the battle now. So here's our battle mat set up, and as you'll see, we finally have the last piece of terrain to go on the Realm of Life board, which is the Sigmarite Bell Tower that we looked at earlier. So that sits up here, in the centre of the back area of the board there. So having a look at the Nighthaunt deployment first, they had to deploy a unit first.
Yeah, so we've got the Glaive Wraiths, all 8 of them, first from the camera, the Tomb Banshee behind them, and then the Chain Ross with the Spirit Torment behind them. The Spirit Torment will be my general.
And over on the other end, we've got the Stormcast deployment. On the left, we have the 3 Evocators, and the actual Evocator Prime model will be the Prime for the unit. The other 2 with the scenic bases are Stormsize Curse Breakers, but they'll just be normal Evocators for this game. On the other side of the statue, we have the 5 Liberators and the Lord Exorcist, who will obviously be my general. The Stormcast get the first turn in the first battle round, and we don't have a battle round limit for this game, so we won't mark them off, so we'll be on to Stormcast turn 1. So my first hero phase, again, command point, and I will try and cast some spells. We'll try and use Empower from the Evocators first, needing a 6, I believe. 7 is definitely enough. So they'll put that on the Sequitors, allowing them to re-roll failed wound rolls, and then the Lord Exorcist will try and cast Mystic Shield, also needing a 6, getting it with an 8, and he'll put that on the Evocators. Might not be necessary, but just in case the Nighthaunt get the double turn. All my units are going to run, do them all at once, so we'll start with the Sequitors. They get a 3, the Evocators get a 5, and the Lord Exorcist gets a 4. So everybody's moved up like this, keeping in a line. The Sequitor's getting about as far as the Bell Tower, and then there's nothing else to do in my turn. Lord Exorcist Redemptor Casket isn't in range, so we'll be on to the Nighthaunt first turn.
So my turn, I'm going to gain a command point, and then everyone's just going to shift back a bit. I could move up and maybe get the double turn, but I'm going to be charging into a load of spelled up Stormcast. Probably not going to go very well. There's a slight chance you might fail to cast the spells in your next turn.
Well, the other disadvantage of moving up is if I were to go first, I would charge you.
Yeah,
so.
And wouldn't go very well.
So that's the end of the battle round, and we'll go on to a new one. Rolling off. See who goes first. I got a 3.
Well, I got a 4. I could have gotten the double turn. I'm going to make you go first.
Okay. Again, another command point, and we're going to try and repeat what we did last turn. We'll start with Empower from the Evocators, needing a 6, getting a 9. Yeah, we'll put that on the Sequitors again. And the Lord Exorcist Mystic Shield again, needing a 6, getting that as well. So we'll put that on the Evocators again. And we're going to move up like this, only moving a few inches, but if I move like this, then the Tomb Banshee has to run in order to be able to scream at any of my units. But no charges or anything, so on to the Nighthaunt turn.
My hero phase, I gain a command point, and in the moon phase, the Spirit Torment and the Tomb Banshee are both going to run. So the Banshee gets to go an extra 3, and the Spirit Torment an extra 6. I'm just going to measure. She's going to spend a command point to make this a 6 for the Tomb Banshee as well. So after they round, the Tomb Banshee and the Spirit Torment are going to end up on top of the building. They're going to try and spread out so that Stormcast can't really get many mobs up there, and my other unit's just going to move up normally for now. So in the shooting phase, the Banshee has her Ghastly Howl ability, or I'm going to pick the Sequitors as the target because they're the lowest bravery. Rolling 2d6, need to beat a 7, getting an 8, so that's 1 mortal wound on the Sequitors.
So mortal wound on that fellow over at the end.
Then in the charge phase, the Glaive Wraith Stalkers will charge. Going to need at least an 8. Ooh, an 8. Glaive Wraith Stalkers will finish their charge like that. The Chain Rasp might as well charge. An 8. So the Chain Rasp are going to finish their charge like that at the Evocators.
At the start of the combat phase, I will do the Sequitors Etheric Channeling. They're going to do Power of Shields, because they're going to be hit. Then Nighthaunt gets to pick first.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Glaive Wraiths to go first. There's going to be some piling in. This guy has to do a bit of wobbling model so that the guy behind him can get in. And they are still within 12 of the Spirit Torment, but that's not relevant for this turn because they reroll all hits because they charged. So 16 attacks from the Glaive Wraiths, hitting on 4s, re-rolling misses. 4 hits so far. Reroll. Oh, that's a bit better. So it's 11 hits in total. Then wounding on 3s. Getting 7.
We've got a 4+ save, re-rolling fails thanks to Power to Shields. We're going to need those re-rolls. Failing 2, so that will kill off the wounded guy. So this guy dies, and put a wound on the other normal one on the other end. My turn to pick. I will pick the Evocators next. So pile in like this to get everybody fighting the Chain Rasps. 13 attacks in total, 4 each from 5 for the Prime, hitting on 3s. 12 hits, wounding on 3s. That fails, we've got 8 wounds.
5+ save for Chain Rasps. Made 3.
Then they can use their Celestial Lightning Arc, so for every model within 1 inch of an enemy, roll 2 dice on 4 pluses that do additional mortal wounds, so 6 dice total, doing an extra 3 mortal wounds, which is average. So that's 8 total damage to the Chain Rasps.
Well, I get to pick, and the 2 remaining Chain Rasps get to fight back. We've got 5 attacks, hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s because of the Spirit Torment. Reroll that 1, into a hit, 4 hits. Wounding on 3 4s.
2 4+ saves, rerolling 1s because they still have Mystic Shield on them. But no, failed 1, so 1 of them is down to 2 wounds. This one on the end takes a wound. Yeah, we'll pick the Secretors. So this one on the end will pile in around the corner, so we get everybody in weapon range. As usual, we'll start with the Great Maces. We've got 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 3 hits, and 1 6, which is D3 hits. 4 2, so 4 hits total. Wounding on 3s, re-rolling because they got Empower on them, so we roll that 1. Into a wound, 4 wounds.
4+ saves for Glaive Wraiths. Made 2, so that's 4 damage so far.
5 attacks from Storm Smite Mauls, hitting on 3s. So 2 misses, and wounding on 3s, re-rolling. 3 wounds anyway.
4+ saves. Made 2 failed 1, that's 5 damage to the Glaive Wraiths.
So 3 Glaive Wraiths left, and the Lord Exorcist gets to fight as well, because he's got a 2-inch weapon range with his staff. He has 4 attacks that hit on 3s, he misses twice, and wounding on 3s, 2 wounds.
4+ saves, failed both, so it's 2d3 damage.
Which is enough to wipe them out. And then in the Battle Shock phase, the Chain Rasps have to take a Battle Shock test.
No, they don't. Spend their command point.
Yep, so that's the end of the battle round. On to the next one. Rolling off, I got a 6.
I did not.
So I'm going to make the Nighthaunt go first, partly to force Michael to decide what he's going to do with his 2 heroes, and also because my spells will stay up until my next hero phase.
The only movement is that the Spirit Torment's going to come down and be 3 inches away from the Evocators.
On to the shooting phase.
We're going to scream at the Secretors. He needs to beat 7, getting a 9, so that's 2 mortal wounds.
So kill off this Secretor, and we'll put a wound on that Great Mace, that's right.
In the charge phase, the Spirit Torment will charge the Evocators. Now I get 12.
The Spirit Torment finishes his charge like that.
Then he's going to go first in the fight phase. 3 attacks hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s because he is a Nighthaunt unit within 12 inches of himself. He got 2 hits. He wounds on 3s, 2 wounds. That's -2 rend.
Oh, so 6 to save, rerolling 1s because they've still got Mystic Shield. Nope, double 5.
So that's 2d3 damage. For 5.
Oh, that's enough to kill 2 Evocators. Kill off this one, and then we'll get rid of the other normal one as well, leaving the Prime still alive. So that also means that the Nighthaunt will kill 3 Stormcast in this turn, so the Spirit Torment will be able to use his ability in the Battle Shock phase.
Assuming any Chain Rasps are left.
Evocator Prime does get to fight back, and he has to hit the Chain Rasp, I don't think he can pile it in anyway to get to the Spirit Torment. 5 attacks hitting on 3s. Oh, 1 hit, so that's wounding on a 3. It did wound.
5+. Oh.
No, so 1 dead, but we do get the Celestial Lightning Arc, so a 4+ will finish him off. Yes. Yeah. Unfortunately, I spoke too soon, and actually the Nighthaunt can't bring any models back to the Chain Rasp because there are none left, which is a shame. We don't get to see that. And then we will be on to the Stormcast turn, because the Evocator Prime has a Bravery Late and doesn't need to take a Battle Shock test. Nobody in range for Cleansing Blast, so we will do the Lord Exorcist is going to cast Arcane Bolt. Needing a 5, getting a 6, so that does go off. We'll put a wound on the Tomb Banshee because she's up on the top of the building, a bit harder to reach, down to 3. And the Evocator Prime is no longer got the Wizard keyword because there's only 1 of him left, so he can't use Empower. So movement like this, the Evocator Prime is going to go after the Tomb Banshee hopefully, and the Secretors and Lord Exorcist coming down this way. And in the shooting phase, the Lord Exorcist is in within 6 inches of the Tomb Banshee, so his Redemptor casket will do a mortal wound on 4+. And rolling, that's a 5, so mortal wound on the Tomb Banshee.
Down to 2.
On to the charge phase, everyone's going to charge. I'll start with Evocator Prime. We need about a 5 or a 6 to get up the building. An 8 is plenty, and I'll roll the Secretors as well. They get a 7, they're in. They come to here, leaving a bit of room for the Lord Exorcist. And he will roll an 8, which is probably good. So he gets to there, and then on to the fight phase at the start. I will declare the Secretors are going to do power to weapons. Let's pick first, so we will do the Secretors first, I think. 4 attacks with the Great Maces, hitting on 3s, re-rolling fails. So we roll that 1. Into a 6 for D3 hits. 2, so 5 hits total. Wounding on 3s, 3.
4+ save. Furthermore, so he's dead.
Oh dear, that's 6 damage.
Yeah, Banshee gets to try and stab the Evocator Prime. 1 attack hitting on a 4. 6s do mortal wounds, but it's just a 4. Wounds on 3. It does.
-2 rend, so I need a 6 to save it. Oh, I did. And the Evocator Prime gets to strike back, 5 attacks hitting on 3s, getting 3. Wounding on 3s, getting 3.
4+ save.
Oh wow, okay. So the Tomb Banshee is also killed. Yeah, so ultimately a actually fairly comfortable victory for the Stormcast. So yeah, we will recap that game for you now. So that was the game for issue 36 of Age of Sigmar Mortal Realms magazine. How do you think that went?
Pretty much how I expected it to go. You had 2 fairly powerful spellcasters to put power on the Secretors and then just do power to shields if I charged you, or power to weapons if you charged, and obliterate whatever unit that was fighting them. The Chain Rasp didn't do anything. I probably shouldn't have charged them against the Evocators, but they probably would just end up dying somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, I had basically my 2 highest damage output units, and on a game of this size, they just massively outclass a unit of Slave Rays and a unit of Chain Rasps. There's not really anything else to it.
Yeah, it's basically your most durable 2-wound unit, and then a unit of guys with 3 wounds and a ton of attacks, and then a Lord.
And it's a good point you made about I had 2 wizards and you didn't have any. I don't know why they didn't give you a wizard. Don't even have a chance to unbind anything.
And you only got to go first, so you could pretty much guarantee that even if I got on a double turn for the second battle round, you'd still have all your spells up.
But this is even without the Lord Exorcist really doing very much. I mean,
And 3 of the 4 morals I killed were from my heroes. The Spirit Torment is fairly dangerous in melee, but kind of has to survive. And why they give me the Spirit Torment's new healing ability and give you basically the smallest number of morals possible, which is a bit odd.
But I guess we might as well talk about that. It is a good ability.
Yeah, it's pretty handy, especially against like really weak armies. You can get multiple of them to activate.
Basically, any army that has 1 wound models in abundance, you just need to kill 3
per Spirit Torment. But still, if you have multiple Spirit Torments, you have those in addition to the Guardian of Souls, and just keep bringing all your stuff back. In theory, assume they don't all die.
Yeah, it's a shame. You actually did really well to kill 3 Stormcasts, and then unfortunately you didn't have any Chain Rasps left. So once again, we have a model like the Spirit Torment, who's part of the kind of Nighthaunt way of functioning, if you like. They have lots of different heroes with different abilities, and they can do a lot of good things like bringing models back and stuff, but on a tiny little game like this, it just doesn't show. You need to bring multiple different heroes with different abilities, and they all synergise quite well.
And in the larger game, it's really easy to kill 3 models, because there can be 3 models anywhere on the field. He just has to be near the unit that's having models brought back.
Yeah, and it does get that nice little bonus for if you kill Stormcast as well. That particularly is only going to come up if you have something that needs healing nearby. It doesn't help you with the number of models you get back, at least, but a nice little thing that helps these armies match up a bit more.
I actually get a rule that specifically helps me against you, whereas until now you've had all of those rules.
It's true. It's not really compensation for all the extra hits from crossbows and big maces and everything, but or the Lord Exorcist spell being really good against Nighthaunt.
Yeah.
And I guess, the Tomb Banshee, the 2 times she screamed, she did alright again, managed to do some mortal wounds.
Yeah, pretty consistently doing mortal wounds.
Yeah. I would predict that once the battles in this magazine start getting a bit bigger, it'll start to be a bit more fair because you'll have more heroes and more abilities and probably just more models in general. But again, we're back to these tiny games where the objective is kill everybody, and the Stormcast are obviously going to do well in that. Not that this would have gone any better if it was an objective game, I don't think, because you still would have been a fight over an objective and probably would have wiped you out anyway. But
yeah, I can't really split you up enough to make a difference.
No. I guess we can talk about the Bell Tower as well. It's nice that we now have a finished collection of terrain for this board. It's a nice piece of terrain, but I don't know how relevant it's actually going to be in our games.
Yeah, you can't really fit many morals on it.
It's just another thing that gets in the way. But
yeah, it's going to get in the Stormcast way mostly.
Well, I think it's part of what was originally the Warcry range, which is a skirmish game where you control individual models. So it'd be much more interesting when you can send a single model up the top of it. And that's the end of the terrain we'll get for this board specifically. There's nothing else to be added to it. So the last few games on this board will look like this. But anyway, I think that's everything for this episode. So if you enjoyed this video, then feel free to leave a like and hit that subscribe button. Let us know if you've got any thoughts about this game, about, the balancing that we've been experiencing, or anything else interesting to know. But we've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye for now.